Yes. Hey, welcome back to What Elon Said. Today is Tuesday, April 26th, 2022. And today we have a Twitter day, What Elon Said on Twitter about his buying Twitter.
Yeah, it's
So,
it's all Twitter today. Over the
all Twitter
weekend
about
was a
Twitter.
scattershot of many topics.
Yes,
Last
it's very
24
meta.
hours is really just Twitter.
It's been crazy. Everyone complaining on Twitter about Elon buying Twitter and what I'll do to Twitter. So
Yeah.
it was quite a day.
I'm canceling
So
Twitter. I just want to announce on Twitter that I'm
yes,
dropping Twitter.
people are commenting of like how they'll use Twitter. I will look at stuff on Twitter now, but I won't post.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
World War III out there.
yes. So we started off with one post that Elon liked, which is sort of a lot of people retweeted of the Twitter bird being released from its cage by Elon.
It's a clever little cartoon here. I like how the bird is kind of shaking in its cage.
Yes, it's been abused in the cage, and he's like, "It's okay, it's okay."
Oh boy, it'll be an interesting ride, and I feel like we're
Yes,
we're just getting started. We're a decade plus, or maybe 2 decades into the Elon land, and it seems like we're just getting started. As Dave Lee said, it's like we are at the beginning stages of Elon 3.0. I don't know if
that's
you
right.
saw those comments, but
It is Elon's interesting, and it's interesting. This is really when you look at the list of the companies, because Tesla is really just a shell company. This is the first company I think he's bought where it had a pre-existing way of operating. So this could be more of a challenge for him. So he not only has to build the company, but he has to reshape the way it operates and the way people think there.
mm-hmm.
So it could be a challenge. I'm interested to see it. It's not the usual Elon startup where he has an idea and it's all him.
Yeah, you're right. That there's probably quite a bureaucracy already there that will take some work to adjust to his style of running an organization.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see how that goes. Here, yeah. So speaking of the types of companies he had, this kind of went through the Elon company list here I would say pre-Twitter, right? So it's like Tesla is, it's $1 trillion, SpaceX, 100 million, Neuralink going down is, what is it, about 1 billion right now. And Boring Company, a little lower. So it's all progressing down, but he has a lot. And then Elon just said, I do love humanity. That's what he's trying to do. They said Elon is truly trying to be good for the humanity. Humanity. Elon loves humanity.
I think this is the bait, is what do you believe his motives are? I think that's why a lot of people really dislike him, because they feel like they can't trust anyone really at this level of popularity or whatever, or in the media limelight. And they really think that his motives are different than what he says they are, and that they're driven by greed and control and power.
That's right. And that's the way the big picture definitely comes across that way, that you have a very outgoing personality buying the platform and making it private. Your immediate thought is it's going to be abused. But, Jeff Bezos bought Washington Post. He is not, he actually has a handoff approach. He hasn't been involved at all. He just wanted to make sure it continued and operated. So that, and I think Elon is definitely more altruistic than Jeff Bezos. So we've talked about it before. Good will come from it. He's not using it for his own propaganda and vetoing method. It's all about freedom.
Another way to look at this tweet here is how all of these companies link together in some way or another for a possible future on Mars, or just a very futuristic society of self-driving vehicles, space travel, AI integration, tunnels. Twitter would be sort of like a almost a new form of democracy, or a free speech form of democracy.
You're
Uh,
right.
and then, of course, Dogecoin is not mentioned in here, but I think that could be future currency that he envisions. But
You're absolutely right. This is it all fits into that solar system platform,
yeah,
that Mars platform. You're right. It's just another component. Maybe on Mars will be called Mitter. I don't know. We'll see. But
well, he has tossed around some ideas, and we know what they remove. They
oh yes,
remove certain letters from.
certain letters. Yes.
Uh, so here's Tim
Anyway,
Urban saying, to everyone who is suspicious of his motives or his competence, all I can offer is this: that I've spent a lot of time talking to him, and I wholeheartedly believe his heart is in the right place in his endeavors. He has time and again solved problems the world believed were unsolvable. And he also links to a previous tweet in which he says, I disagree with the why would Elon waste his time with Twitter take. Whether we like it or not, social media has a major effect on politics, global events, on our minds. It's changing the world in ways that affect everything. And I think it's a great thing for Elon to work on. Uh,
yeah. He
yeah, go ahead.
having a thoughtful mind and a directed mind, doing it rather than a sort of a board and a group that wants to do well. Group wants to do the best for everyone by controlling it for everyone.
Mhm.
Elon's the opposite. It's sort of like let the system run itself.
Yeah.
Open it up.
Yeah. So, I mean, I am of the opinion that that is easier said than done. And that I think, as you mentioned, as we move forward with this, he's going to be faced with a bigger challenge than maybe he initially anticipated. Because if you've heard of him talk about some of the ideas he has, yeah, they're great. Okay, removing bots, authenticating people, maybe getting an edit button for whoever wants it, whatever. But his grander themes are about free speech, and I don't think it's as simple as just you know busting the dam of anybody saying anything. I,
Yep.
or maybe it is, but I think
Uh,
a lot of people would take uh, pause with Tim's initial tweet here that social media is having a major effect on politics, global events in our minds, and that means that a single person should own it. I think that's probably where a lot of people are getting hung up.
I think you're right, because it does influence politics so much. And really the underlying thing is Donald Trump, of how he used and abused Twitter,
Mhm.
and some other congressmen and women that abused it. So everyone, I think the elephant in the room is, where will the line be drawn? And everyone's concerned that Elon will not have a line, that
Yeah,
anything could go up there.
yeah,
It's just going to be a free range. Could happen. I don't Maybe it will happen, but
yeah.
I think that if something is said that incites violence in some way, I think that he would have to do something, or else he
Yeah.
knows that he can't just freewheel it
Well,
too
he
much.
has said that he believes in free speech within the bounds of the law, and there are
That's
laws
right.
about speech and what can be said and etc.
That's
But
right.
I mean, so he's acknowledged that, and it's not like he's trying to push against that, or at least
No,
from my understanding and listening to what he said. I think that, well, hopefully we're helping with this in some ways, but I think of a lot of the issue is that people just don't listen enough or try to listen enough to what he actually says. And he's pretty consistent with what he does say. And, he does not, he doesn't have, um, you know, false motives here, or
no.
evil motives, I'd say.
I also wonder, is sort of outside of the tweets from here, but he, one big concern is that his attention will be drained away from the other big
Yep.
initiatives happening in the other companies.
Yeah.
And I wonder, with because he does use it so much and he's vested in it, if the recent comments he's had about how everything was his team, not necessarily just him, that he has reached the point where he is very confident in his other companies without having to be constantly there. That he's, in a sense, this is stepping away a little bit from those companies, or is it just piling more onto the plate?
Mm, I guess I'm more of the opinion of the former, that
Yeah,
he's he's feeling quite confident in the trajectory of Tesla, uh, the trajectory of SpaceX. I don't know about the other companies, but I think he's feeling pretty good about those and their long-term impact.
Mhm.
I don't think he'll step away from either one of them, and in fact, I'm becoming more and more convinced that he won't step away from Tesla, even though we've
Yeah,
talked about that
interesting.
before.
Yep,
But yeah, I don't. I think this will be another, obviously, another ball that he's got to juggle. But also, here's a question: how much involvement does ownership play versus being an executive at the organization?
true,
Right?
true.
Like, I don't know. He may say, "Hey, I own it now. I'm restructuring. I'm gonna bring these people in. They're gonna run it." I think that has been one of his skills over the years, over the decades, that
It,
he attracts talent and surrounds himself with very intelligent engineers and developers and creative people.
yeah, that's the Warren Buffett model. Hire very, very confident people, and then just
No,
oversee it. Just like check in, you get your reports, but you're not. He'll be a little more hands on than that, but that
yeah,
is where I think it's leading to, where he has a number of holding companies in the sense,
mhm.
and each company is run. But yes, we'll see how that goes. I feel like I feel like he felt he had to do it. I feel he thinks there are big things that influence the future of humanity to ensure that it is healthy. And I think he actually views Twitter as a new key component to the health of human discourse and human civilization.
Yeah. Well, we can get to exactly what he said here in a couple of
Yeah,
tweets.
we'll get to that.
Um,
So what do we have here?
First off, he's got some opinions about Instagram. And this is from internal tech emails. Elon Musk on tweeting: will tweet as I wish and suffer the consequences. So it goes. I just deleted my Instagram. Weak sauce. And he and goes on to say that the Instagram curse: water everywhere, yet always thirsty. How would you interpret that, there, Mark?
Uh that uh that well, sort of always thirsty is wanting attention or content, but water everywhere is I don't know. I sort of interpret it as like there's a lot there, but
Yeah.
it's hard to find the great content or really hard
Hmm.
to use it.
I think I interpreted it as like, look how great life is. Everybody's just posting like their happy times and all, it's all smiles and everything's great in these exotic lands, and I'm, cliff diving into these beautiful ocean waters, and yet everybody's unhappy,
Yeah,
like I don't
that's
know,
right.
that's my interpretation
They
of it.
want
I don't
more.
know,
That's
but
right. Weak sauce. I
weak
like that.
sauce. And here, so once we get into the conversation, or kind of once the news broke about him, the deal going through, he tweeted, "I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means." Um, just
Yeah,
saying that free speech is when someone that you disagree with says someone that or says something that you disagree about and is still able to say it. You know,
that's right. That's right.
that before.
That it's open discourse,
Yep.
not they're wrong, so they can't speak. And here's the big. He retweeted and he said yes
Yeah.
to his
Like from the
tweet.
rooftops. Yes.
Yeah, from so Elon said that free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. I also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, and authenticating all humans. Twitter has tremendous potential. I look forward to working with the company and the community of users to unlock it.
Mm,
That kind of summarizes his full thoughts, and
yeah.
he retweeted that. I mean, that's like sort of that could be the motto of the company.
Yeah. Again,
uh,
back to what I said earlier, I think part two of this statement is a lot easier than part one. That
yes.
I mean, we can all agree that it's the bedrock of a functioning democracy. How you uh, allow it and keep it healthy is a much debated topic, I'd say.
Yes, and what is authenticating all humans? Does that mean
I think that
everyone
means
needs to
that
say who
you
they
have to
are,
be
or
an actual human to have an account and not some bot that's just gonna blast out automated spam all the time.
but it doesn't mean that you can still be anonymous?
Um, I don't know.
I don't know.
Question.
That's a key thing. I think you should be able to. But that Ben Franklin was anonymous in most of his articles in his newspapers. And also everyone was able to criticize each other. They knew they were anonymous. But being a human would be good, not a bot. That's
Yeah.
the huge differentiator.
I mean, that's a great question, though, what he thinks about anonymity and posting anonymously, you know?
yeah.
It's worth more contemplation. I hadn't really thought about that. What are the pros and cons of anonymity on Twitter or just online in general?
That's right. There's a lot of pros, I think. A lot of more anger, more craziness. But as long as it's not a bot, then I think it's okay.
Yeah. Well, would love to hear any comments if anyone has any. So here we have John Kreider responding to that, saying Twitter is important for free speech, and Elon Musk's buying it is a win for this critical right. Most billionaires buy yachts and farmland or whatever. Elon Musk puts his money toward helping humanity, and it is greatly appreciated. Excited for positive changes. So here's some being excited for the future.
Yeah.
Elon talks about that a lot. And
Excited for the future. Putting his money where it now. He's not. He's just buying toys.
Right. I'd say if you got on Twitter though right now, I don't think that everybody would feel that the future is positive and that Elon's making it better. But this was something that he liked the support here. So
I know Elizabeth Warren is all over.
oh yeah, and her army, her rage army. But we do have one supporter, another supporter here. We got Kathy Wood giving a thank you, Elon, and he liked that.
That's good. Kathy making the positive news.
Yeah, and pretty
I'm
small
not
here, but I mention this yesterday that I felt that those two, that Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk, have discussions on the side that they are. I'm not going to go as far as to say friends, but that they converse every now and again. And I still have that feeling, especially after reading this, and that I feel like Jack was in some way involved with discussions with Elon about his plans. And
I agree. Had to be. Definitely.
Yeah.
Little love going back and forth.
Yeah. Well, he certainly threw his support behind this deal going through yesterday when we don't know Jack Dorsey's the creator of Twitter, so he first tweets a song saying everything in its right place, and then he says, "I love Twitter. Twitter is the closest thing we have to a global consciousness. The idea and service is all that matters to me, and I'll do whatever it takes to protect both. Twitter as a company has always been my sole issue and my biggest regret. It has been owned by Wall Street and the ad model. Taking it back from Wall Street is the correct first step." So, doesn't that echo a lot of what Elon has said about it, I guess, or what he's implied?
Yeah.
And then
definitely.
he goes on to say that in principle, I don't believe anyone should own or run Twitter. It wants to be a public good at a protocol level, not a company. Solving for the problem of it being a company, however, Elon is a singular solution I trust. I trust his mission to extend the light of consciousness. So Elon liked that tweet in particular. And Jack has been pretty consistent about that message, at least in the recent years, that he doesn't. He almost thinks that Twitter should be like an open source um, program on its own, not controlled by anyone. Almost like how he thinks about Bitcoin, I think.
Yep, that's the public good. Well, sort of like why am I forgetting the operating system? there's an open source operating system that's not Windows or Mac, but
Linux or
Linux, like a Linux system where it's just for the public to improve.
yeah.
Um, the the ad model, so it's always chewed at him, I guess, and it's really never worked for Twitter. They've never made a lot of money off the ad model. It's just clunky, and it's never really worked for advertisers. I can tell you firsthand. But it'd be interesting what their model will be to pay employees. I know Elon owned it, but he can't just constantly just pay the employees as a public good. He has other backers that have gone into him with this. It's not just like Elon owns it. It's a number of people who went in to buy it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they think of. We've heard some things about paywall,
Yeah.
pay per play.
Services.
We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. And we know Elon's thoughts on advertising.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a future Twitter without ads. I don't know. I've thought in the past that I might pay for that because I really find Twitter so valuable, and it got to a point where it's like every 5 tweets now is a ad. Too much.
They're useless ads.
Yeah, exactly. Jack just really ends it here with, "I'm so happy Twitter will continue to serve the public conversation around the world and into the stars." There we go. Referencing what we said earlier of maybe a possible platform used in future civilizations.
That's right.
Otherworldly civilizations.
In the far future, they won't think it always existed. It's like water.
Mm-hmm. And here we just got a piece of artwork from Beeple, and he added to this tweet. I do love Beeple stuff, man.
It's great.
I don't know. That's appeals to my eccentric artistic taste, I guess. "The public square is a place where ideas go to compete, and hopefully over a long enough time period, the best ones that benefit all of humanity will win out. Elon Musk, you have signed up to play referee to eternal war." LOL. That adds a heart and a thank you to that.
Yeah, this is like the Twitter war. Now his Twitter on his side. It's his Twitter army. Isn't that what people are afraid of? But yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I think people is touching on probably a philosophy that Elon believes in, that free speech must reign supreme, and the best ideas will ultimately win. The truth will win out in the end. There may be some hardships along the way, but ultimately, even if it's our distant future ancestors, they'll look back at us and be like, well, we got that wrong, but at least the ideas flew and we settled on something good over time.
That's right.
But it ain't going to be easy, as Beeple notes here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, here's his and be my love in the rain. What do you think of this this quote here?
Cryptic tweet. But I did note that James Stevenson identified that this is referencing the poem "A Line Storm Song" by Robert Frost. And he says that the line storm was also the code name of a next generation tunnel boring machine being developed by the Boring Company.
Oh, it's always
intertwined. Maybe a poem that touched Elon at some point along the way, and it's always stuck with him. Who knows? But there it is for everybody. If you want to pause it here and read it yourself, we won't go beyond that.
Interpreting Elon quotes or references sometimes like trying to interpret Bob Dylan songs. Like, what is the meaning?
Yeah. Hey, on that note, and I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but I have been thinking a lot, specifically this morning, weirdly enough, that Elon is very similar in my mind to Bob Dylan in like the mid 60s electrification period.
Yes. Yes.
Like he was like a part of a movement, sort of, but they just kind of made him part of it, and he never really was. He just was his own person and artist and poet, and eventually pushed back against that movement, kind of owning him, or trying to take credit or have him as their spokesperson. Was like, you
Yeah,
got to think for yourself.
he was a chameleon. He just kept evolving to the like he wasn't
Yeah.
part of the movement. He was just inhabiting it for a bit, and
Yeah.
that's sort of Elon. He's evolving outside of it while people are stuck. That's a great point. They're stuck in their way. They'll never go outside of that framework, and he
Yeah.
just keeps evolving,
But
expanding it.
consistent to himself in doing that,
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah,
So
he is the Dylan of today. I never thought about that. He is like an artist unto his own. It's
yeah.
interesting.
And also Maggie's Farm. I try so hard to be just who I am, but everybody wants you to be just like them. I just think like, wow, that's Elon exactly,
Yeah,
He's not fitting the mold. I mean, you have people on the left who obviously are supportive of sustainable energy and environmentalism and those efforts, but who hate the guy
I know.
and who's created the organization that's arguably doing the most on that front, and yet they
That's
hate
right.
him because he does not fit the mold that they want.
It is crazy. And the Steve Jobs idolized Bob Dylan. Like he was probably the biggest Dylan fan ever. He was
Mm,
fanatical.
yeah,
And in the end, Elon is the one that is the Dylan.
yeah. It's a theory that I have. All right, so you want to take this one, Brene Battle?
Sure. So I don't think this is what Elon said. I don't think we should try to have people live for a really long time. That would cause asphyxiation of society because the truth is, most people don't change their mind. They just die. So if they don't die, we will be stuck with old ideas and society wouldn't advance. This is something this theme and this topic he's talked about quite a bit lately. And this is,
Mm-hmm.
Getting away from our Twitter theme. But he does believe in renewed, I guess this sort of goes along with the Dylan theme and the artist theme that he believes in renewal and renewed ideas, and just calcification is not something he believes in, and therefore he doesn't believe in extended life because of that.
Yeah.
But it goes into his mantra, I feel, of just constantly recreating. He's an artist. This is an artist statement right here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about
Yeah,
this?
I mean, he's talked about this sort of on two fronts. One is that laws should be easier to remove than they are to put into place. Um, so he just thinks that there are laws on the books that are antiquated and just complicate the rules of the land. But then also in regards here to lifespan itself, a lot of people have I've seen a lot of comments underneath his tweets about extending lifespans and for space travel or for getting to experience what the future holds. And I think he this is a very interesting take from him that he's like, well, no, that's not a great idea, because most people don't change their minds, and we need people to change their minds, and we need new ideas, and we need fresh perspectives. And most of the time, when people gain a perspective, they don't really change it over time. So,
That's right.
uh,
If people from 100 years ago were still in society, we'd be all Victorians and aristocrat
yeah,
society.
yeah. So I think it's a great take, and I think it shows his humility and his just really like rational approach to society and to science. And um, yeah, I think it really supports his other ideas.
Yeah, and it also shows that how deep he thinks all the time about everything.
Mhm.
It's nothing lightly. He doesn't just take
Yeah,
topics lightly.
I mean, I think most people would have an initial response that would say, "Yeah, I would like to live forever or extend my lifespan significantly." Or they would say, "No, it's horrible, like we're
Yeah,
tampering with nature or something,"
yeah,
And it seems like he's gone past both of those initial responses and really thought thoroughly about it.
that's right.
Yeah. All right. Hyperloop
Ah,
testing at full scale begins later this year. What?
I- yeah. I don't know what full scale means, but it sounds good.
I love it.
I
Can't wait.
full scale. it's a very vague statement. Full scale, but as long as they're testing it, I like it.
Yeah.
It's good news. So he retweets it. Hopefully there'll be a Hyperloop conference by the Boring Companies soon. I haven't heard much lately.
Yeah. I don't know, some nuggets and hints of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where this goes. And I don't know. I mean, you're also saying testing. So
Yeah.
I guess that means you've produced a prototype, sort of, and then
I don't know. It's
you're gonna
interesting.
begin testing. I don't know. Yeah, lot to break down there. Kind of
Yeah.
uh, vague.
And testing, does that mean they dug it already? I don't know.
Yeah, not sure.
No. This is little news here. Hawaiian Airlines signs a deal to offer SpaceX's Starlink Wi-Fi on its planes, a service it plans to offer for free to passengers on those long trips over the
Yeah,
Pacific. So I just flew over the Atlantic, and I was thinking about that while I was on the plane. Like,
yeah,
would be good if Starlink is available. Why can't I use it right now? So
yeah. I don't think
that's good.
much folks are paying attention to this expanding of dominance that Starlink's about to have over like internet connectivity of the world.
Yes.
It's pretty darn exciting if you ask me. I don't really
Yes.
see much of a downside there. Maybe that, like, I
The
don't
only
know.
downside I see is if you're on a business trip, you don't have an excuse to say the internet sucks. I couldn't work.
Yeah, true.
You have to constantly just work now on your business trip on the flight now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've thought about that with self-driving cars too. Like, I kind of used to enjoy my commute to and from work.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
although I hated it more times than I enjoyed it, but when there's no traffic and it's like the middle of the night or really early in the morning, no one out
Yeah.
there, and you just
Yeah.
have maybe a half an hour to contemplate things. I
That's
guess
right.
you would have that with self-driving cars too, but more than likely we'll transition to more
More work.
productivity or entertainment or just
Yeah.
more sleep.
That's right.
Some of us. All right, what else we have here? So it does look like the dragon re-entering the Earth's atmosphere occurred
Um,
early this morning or late yesterday.
yes. Although for some reason they show a picture of it taking off. I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
it was a well. This is just me with the clip
Oh,
or
that's what
the
they had as part of it, right?
screenshot, but yeah, it
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
a montage of the
yeah.
launch.
It's funny. Oh yes, yes, that's what it
Good
was. You're
stuff.
right. So that was it. So that was exciting. The huge would normally be the biggest news ever is just a tidbit at the end of a big day.
Yeah. Launches, SpaceX launches are just like back burner stories these days.
Yeah, that's
Once
just
a week, we're all just used to it.
it's like the ferry bringing in a cargo ship now.
Yeah, exactly. Or the train rolling down the tracks.
That's right.
Whatever. But when Starbase or Starship goes up, I think that's going to be
Fun
a
lead
monumental
story.
moment.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, so that'll about wrap it up for today. And if you like the video, give us a like and consider subscribing and sharing it. We'll talk to everyone tomorrow. Thanks.